So we're now switching over to a studio interview here in London, in the heart of the tech city, so-called in Shoreditch. And we're broadcasting live here today at a place called Newspeak House, which you can Google the address, Newspeak House, run by Ed Superior, who's one of our TechVG's volunteers, part of our team here in London. And we're now going to welcome over Harald Neidhardt, who's from MLove. Hello, Harald, good to see you. Thank you very much for joining us in London.
You're standing or
sitting? No, we're going to sit down. There's some water here for you if you need it. So Harald, thank you very much. Where have you flown in from today?
Hamburg.
Hamburg, fantastic. Yeah. And thank you so much for joining us. So, Harald, you've been working on a very interesting project, haven't you? I mean, just firstly, before we talk about it, I mean, how did you start engaging with this issue?
Well, it was really started by Mirko Bass. He's a business development guy at Cisco, and he's a close friend in Hamburg. And we were both looking at, in August, September, when the whole refugee crisis started, we were looking at TV, and it's like, okay, what can we do? There's something to do. And every night it was getting worse and worse. And the first idea, he said, man, we have a good company. Why don't we offer some routers here and there? And so, but every night we watched TV and the situation. We watched some of the refugee camps. We went to the, main station in Hamburg, see how the doctors work. And you basically have a tent, and it's a blank, wet, like here, concrete, and people are just kind of being treated there. So it was very devastating, not only for the refugees but also for the volunteered doctors and workers. So we basically chit-chatted some ideas, and I have a passion for containers. We sit in a container.
Actual shipping containers?
Shipping containers, really, yeah.
Yeah. Why do you have a passion for them?
I just love it. It's cool. It's raw. All this digital stuff is so sleek and nice.
Yeah.
This is like this. It's
yeah.
Like, you have steel, there's something analog.
And you can do so many things with shipping containers. You can just
put it up,
turn them into hotels.
And your retail thing, like a box park or something like that inspired me. So we have in our offices in 20 shipping containers in Hamburg and the harbor city.
Amazing.
And so since a couple of years, actually our first MLove event in 2010, we had a container which was a power station to be supplied for refugees. And so it was always a theme on our minds to say, how can we help? Shipping containers is mobile, you can bring it there, you can help with technology. So once we did this, so we started and put something together, and actually brought a little video if you want, and we can maybe talk over it.
Fantastic.
What we did is we hacked a container.
So I think, roll VT, as they say in the biz.
Okay.
So you did what? Oh, here we go. Right.
So we rolled, this is our camp. So it's full of shipping containers. And so here we see the arrival of a 20-foot container, which it was empty. Now we stacked it all up with like 150 meters of cable and networking, and put some design on it.
Yeah.
And we call it the Refugee First Response Center. So what we wanted to do is say, first of all, we wanted to help the situation of the doctors.
Yeah.
So we worked with the people who are responsible in the city to say, how can we set up the furniture, what kind of medical equipment you do. And then we brought it to one of the refugee camps, which has now about 1,500 refugees, in an old warehouse, Home Depot kind of thing. So it was, and the cool thing is that we don't have not only an office for the doctors to really work in, but the clue is that we have a video translation service. So together with these Cisco live stream terminals, there's a service from Austria, SAVD. Oh, we can maybe hear Mirko from the sound.
I think our sound guy. Tom, can we do the sound on the speech here? Let's just see if we're getting it right.
Where we have access to 750 interpreters, being able to translate 50 languages within 120 seconds if you click it.
We have a live
Wir sind sehr zufrieden mit dem Service, weil die Sprache praktisch der Schlüssel.
It's a doctor from the University Clinic from Hamburg, and he really says something like, language is the key to communication. So if the patients come, you're able to understand them because you have a live video translator.
Yeah.
And so there's a, English translation there. But the main thing is, okay, first of all, you come in, the typical situation now in a refugee camp is that you come in as a patient, and there's like 4 translators, physical people, sitting on the bench where you were supposed to sit as a patient.
Yeah.
So that's the situation. First of all, you have to pay 4 people. Then some of them are maybe not there. One of them is sick as well. And so the door opens. You don't know what language they speak. Farsi, Russian, Syrian, Arabic, different dialects from the Baltics and so on. So now with this service, there's a video terminal. You press a button, and there's 50 languages, and most of them within less than 120 seconds. And then there's a live translator. More than 750 live translators are throughout Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. And then they can translate to the doctor and say, okay, what is it? Is it my teeth? Is my what is the problem?
And this is Cisco's technology?
Yeah, Cisco is the hardware, and together with a whole setup, they are the backbone. And then there's a company from Austria, SAVD, and they have this translation service. And so in Germany, the word for translation is Übersetzer. And Mirko came up with this thing called, well, this is sort of a Übersetzer, because it's an Uber model. So
it's like an Uber for translation.
Exactly, because it's a scalable model. You have people sitting at home. My kids are at home. Within 2 hours, I can maybe log in, translate from your home directly with your translation from Hamburg or some other places.
Do you have to be sitting in front of the terminal there and then to be able to receive the call? Do you have to have set hours, almost like a call center?
Yeah, no, you actually log in.
Log in?
Yeah, you log in and say, I'm now available for the next 2 hours.
I've got some free time, I log in, see what I can do.
And my language is Farsi, so let's see if the next 2 hours there's demand for Farsi.
Amazing.
And that is the cool thing, so that you open the door, because normally you have these four translators, and Farsi is in, the other guys could drink a coffee, but they already had 3 coffees, so they just sit in. So the refugee is not, first of all, he is sick, or she is feeling intimidated maybe by a German doctor, but then there's like 4 other people, and then like, oh yeah, can you open up? So it's like a train station, not only the cost. So one thing is, I think we can make it more human for the refugee. We can make it much more human and agreeable for the doctor who, do volunteer work.
Because you're actually speaking to a real human being. You're not trying to go through some machine translation service.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so we saw some of the scenes where people, basically come in and say, oh, I'm sick. And then you see, oh, somebody speaks my language. You right away, your body language is opening up and say, oh, wow, somebody understands me. And the doctor is explaining the whole thing. And
it's a totally different experience, isn't it, with a real live human being?
So we basically came up with it. It took us 6 weeks to take it from the idea, from our first nightly conversation and an illustration, a sketch, to put it live in Hamburg. And now, together with the university clinic and the German Red Cross there, we have experience since November 2nd. And so this is the first time we talk about it. Thank you for the opportunity.
Not at all.
And so there's next week there's an announcement there. We have a donor. A prominent Hamburg family who will also make a donation of more containers there in Hamburg.
And it's important to have the container aspect of it. How important is that?
I think it's really cool because, first of all, most of these container camps or refugee camps in Germany and throughout Europe probably have to be built really fast, and they use containers for that. So you can actually dock it on. There's the infrastructure. They already have trucking, and you can easily, if it's not moved, not needed after a year, you can move it to another station.
Right.
And the dream from the team is so that we can supply more in Germany, because, as you know, Germany has probably taken on all of them, most of the refugees.
Many refugees.
We're a very, I think, favorite country right now. But our dream is to say, can we take build 100 of those, pull together support, and bring them basically from Lesbos to the Austrian border. Because my feeling is, if they walk there and they have this, on the right way, they break their leg. Some of these countries say, you know what, move on. And I think there's help is needed more south, including Syria at one point.
This is actually a really interesting point, because this technology could be, this solution could be rolled out to other places other than Germany, and therefore perhaps instead of Germany having to take the full weight of this issue, which is obviously a massive one, and Germany's and Angela Merkel, of course, has been done an amazing job of really speaking to this crisis. But you could put this in, in common routes through Europe.
Yeah, in Serbia.
Have doctors, deal with the crisis as it goes, or deal with health issues for refugees as they go, rather than them having to walk 300 miles with a broken leg or something crazy.
And so there's Wi-Fi connectivity inside for the doctors and for the terminal, but also we can provide Wi-Fi as an access point for the people around it. People arrive on the island in Greece, or even maybe more south in Turkey, where obviously Turkey and Lebanon is hit with a lot of the location, and so.
So is it who's actually in charge of the project? I mean, who can make the decision to say, let's roll this across Europe, or let's put this into Jordan or Turkey?
Yeah, well,
who can make that? Who can push that button?
Well, right now we basically offer the service. We have this. It started with a Hamburg kind of smart city ecosystem. There's Avodag as a company who's doing the Cisco stuff, and they are the general contractor, if you will.
So it's up to you where you put it.
Exactly. So if somebody says, we actually basically this is our call today. If somebody says, I want to help put 100 of those together. Find locations. We have a location. Maybe we have, Doctors Without Borders. Maybe UN says, hey, we could use 10 right away in Turkey. I think we are up to supply it. And Hamburg has a good container harbor. We have, containers take still some time to get it. But it's something we put together in this collaborative, in this team. And we say, we want to help other people to help. So this is something we tested now. And we think this is something tangible for other people to take on and help us bring this to the refugees.
That's astounding. So, how do people get in touch with you, interact with you guys, partner with you? How do they do that with you?
Okay, so first of all, there's just a makeshift, really easy website, rfrc.eu, where you can also see the video again, and info@rfrc.eu, or that's probably one thing. Harald@MLove.com. So there's a couple of ways how to get to us, and then we will really. It didn't start as a company. It started as 2 or 3 people say, "Hey, why don't we do something?" And now this might be a foundation. This is something we have to figure out what the business model is. But in the end, I think we can also save a lot of money for the community. So Hamburg, again, will tell next week, say, hey, we really save money because the 4 people physically, now it's a video service and it's on demand. If nobody is sick, you don't pay. Otherwise, so I think there's a lot of benefits. There's no sheet yet, there's no sales thing. It really comes from the bottom of our heart and passion. So thanks for the opportunity.
That's an incredible idea. But the tantalizing potential here is that you could basically save local authorities, municipalities, enormous amounts of money just by putting this in, and therefore, really, the savings would fund this.
Exactly, right away, within less than a year.
Yeah, exactly. That's amazing. So, we'll be putting up links to your project on techrefugees.com/live with all of the information of our guests. All of our guests will be written up and have links to their projects, their websites, and so that you can contact them. We'll also obviously be submitting your project to the Syrian Donors Conference tomorrow here in London. But for now, Harald Neidhardt from MLove and from your amazing project, thank you so much for coming on Tech Refugees Live.
All right,
fantastic,
good luck. Great show.
Please hang out with us all day.